Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Eddie Hearn, we need a warm-up fight before we fight Fury. Hearn expects AJ to use Wilder as that tune-up. It says Joshua will walk through Wilder within 3 rounds. So the question is being asked, is AJ Wilder a must-see or a mismatch? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, AJ and Wilder is must-see TV, and it's also a mismatch. You know what I'm saying? Look, AJ's been through a lot. Wilder, AJ's going through a lot. Wilder's going through a lot. They're not in their primes anymore. But I still think it's must-see television. Now, there are some rumors that AJ and Wilder are in negotiations. But there are also some rumors that Derek Chisora has come out and now he wants a rematch with Deontay Wilder. So that's something else that could be on the table. But more than likely, Wilder would choose to take the AJ fight, and for obvious reasons, right? Not because Wilder's trying to test his greatness, just because the money that's involved with that fight. Now, who wins? I just got to be honest with you. When you talk about the strengths of these guys, someone like a Deontay, someone like a Joshua, let's just start with AJ. He's physically elite. You know what I mean? It's just genetics. He has the size, strength. He has everything, man. You got the fundamentals. Then he has global brand appeal. His patience has improved. He has discipline. But the one thing is, there's 2 things that about AJ I'm going to pay attention to. If in fact they announce that AJ and Wilder are fighting, I'm going to be paying attention to AJ's body language, his response to questions. I'm going to watch all that because he's going through a lot. What that man experienced, I can't even describe it. It's beyond comprehension what he endured, right? And it's still, for the rest of his life, he's going to have to deal with that and try to manage that. So that's the number one thing for me. The number 2 thing that I'm paying attention to is he's out there training with U16. He's been out there working with them for a while. That shit just spells problems, in my opinion, for anyone who's going to be getting inside the ring with Anthony Joshua. That being said, as far as his weaknesses, I mean, you got to question the chin and how he functions under pressure in the ring when things aren't going his way, and that he hesitates in big moments from time to time. But he has a huge opportunity here, beating Wilder. I still think if he beats Wilder, that equals a full redemption arc, and he can reclaim top heavyweight status because, let's be real, Wilder has only been beat. He's beaten by Tyson Fury, beaten by Parker, beaten by Zhang, but Wilder wasn't 100% for the Parker and Zhang fight. And I don't think he could have ever got back to being 100% because of what Tyson Fury beat out of him. But the threats for AJ is Wilder. Look, you still got to think that he has one-punch power that can end everything instantly. He showed with one punch that he could hurt Chisora, but Chisora, again, he's not the same. His punch resistance isn't quite what it was. Chisora's been through wars, but Wilder still couldn't knock him out. So if he lands on AJ, I'm going to say, because of AJ's chin, Wilder could hurt him, but I don't see a one-hitter quitter like what Wilder was doing before he fought Tyson Fury. Now, when you talk about Deontay Wilder, all right, his strengths, we already know, power, dangerous at all times, and I'm just going to leave it as that, okay? Now, his weaknesses, he got rid of Mark Breland. Simple. Technical adaptability is limited to none, especially right now. Confidence, fluctuations, drama in his personal life. And I'm not here to talk about all the bullshit we've talked about in videos. We've been serious. We've made light of it. But the reality is, I don't know where Wilder's confidence is. I think he's chasing money, and I get it, but I think Wilder's going to get hurt fighting Anthony Joshua. That's just what I feel. But if he can get a KO over Joshua, that's legacy defining. But we all know that this fight is beyond the expiration date, and some people are just like, hey, we'll watch it because it's boxing, but it's not what it was when both were undefeated and Joshua had 3 belts and Wilder had 1, and they could have fought for undisputed. This isn't that. But for Deontay Wilder, the big threat for him is just getting outboxed and getting neutralized and getting violently knocked out. Because Anthony Joshua, I think, would knock Deontay Wilder out cold. And I don't think it'd be anything nice. You say, well, who you rooting for? I mean, I'm going to root for Wilder always because of why he came into boxing. Because for his daughter. So I'll always root for him. But, I mean, I'm telling you who's going to win. Joshua's going to knock him out. Now, some other matchups, man, that are going on. You got Sebastian Fundora. Well, it's not going on. But this is what they were trying to make. Josh Kelly was supposed to be fighting Xander Zayas. But then Xander decided to go fight Boots, more financial upside. And then the discussion with Josh Kelly came to a halt. But now Josh Kelly is in talks with Sebastian Fundora. Now, I'll tell you this. It's hard to go against Fundora with these guys who don't have at least a 75-inch reach. Fundora is 81 inches. Keith Thurman, Tszyu, now you're talking about 68, 69 inch reach against a guy like Fundora, 80-plus inches. Josh Kelly, I just don't see how he's going to have any success in there with Fundora, who's now fighting tall, fighting long. The volume of punches, he's a hard hitter. He's skinny as hell, but he's strong as shit. I mean, he's just got the volume, he's got the size. He can be vulnerable to counters. Keith Thurman was just coming up short because of the difference in reach. But Keith Thurman was timing him, and he was shooting the right shots, the right counters at the right time. He just couldn't connect because of the reach differential. Can Kelly do that? He's got skill, he's got timing, but he has durability concerns. So I think you'll see the timing. You'll see him trying to counter. You'll see him doing all the right things. I think you're going to be a repeat of Keith Thurman. He's just not going to be able to get there. Plus, I think Keith Thurman is way more durable than Josh Kelly. And Josh Kelly has durability concerns. So if those two were to fight, I mean, I got Fundora all day. Now, this shit about Conor Benn. We know he just fought this weekend. He took the $15 million. No loyalty to anybody. People feel they can't trust him, but he made $15 million. He just picked up a new Porsche and a Ferrari. Conor Benn don't give a shit about what anybody says. So for Benn against Ryan Garcia will knock him out cold. He will violently knock that man out. You know what I'm saying? He will tranquilize Conor Benn. I don't care what you think about Ryan Garcia. Somebody said this is the battle of the cheats. I mean, people on the internet are going to internet, you know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you right now, Conor Benn will get violently knocked out. You know what's crazy? I'm not even going to say it's sad. The vast majority of the boxing population, they want to see Benn get his ass violently knocked out and destroyed. They don't like him because of what happened when he was first supposed to fight Eubank Jr., then he tested positive for PEDs. That whole thing went away, but it was never really cleared up. His innocence was never proven. Then he came back and fought Eubank Jr. in 2 fights, and they had him weigh in at 160 with a 10-pound rehydration clause where he killed himself to make the weight, and he was a dead man in both of those fights. And how Conor Benn had paraded around the UK and around the world like he's the next coming to Terrence Crawford and shit. So there are people who want him destroyed, especially after watching him fight Regis Prograis, a washed up. I don't want to insult Regis because I like him, but basically, he was beyond his prime. Because I just can't call Regis Prograis washed up. He was beyond his prime, and he was injured, and Conor Benn couldn't do anything with him. So they're like, all right, Benn has aggression, he has pressure, but it's not all that effective because he couldn't get Regis out of there. A small guy who was injured, and Benn couldn't get him out of there. Now you want to put him in there with Ryan Garcia, who's taller than both, longer reach than both, has got speed, has power, has star power. And Ryan Garcia is locked in. Saw what he did with Barrios. Of course, can't help but wonder about, where all that shit came from. But the bottom line is he did the business. So I think the threat is for Conor Benn, mental and defensive lapses. Ryan Garcia, I mean, if he was fighting somebody else, maybe he would have some mental and defensive lapses, but I don't. I think any other fight, you can say both sides would have that, but I think Conor Benn knows. He gets in there with Ryan Garcia, it ain't going to be nothing nice. You can see in Conor Benn's energy, his confidence isn't quite what it was. I don't know what's going on with him. I have an idea, but his confidence is not what it was. So we'll see what happens. But that I saw something about this. They're supposed to be fighting in August. I don't know about that because I also heard no promoter wants to work with Conor Benn. They may focus on the next one fight, make some big money off of him, and then leave him alone. But my understanding, he's not with Zuffa, he's not with Eddie Hearn. So I don't know what's going on. Because I also heard Zuffa wanted to sign a multi-fight deal with Benn. So you don't know what's true on the internet. Because I realize people make up shit. Like they're really going to make up these false advertisements, false announcements, false flyers. It's crazy. I didn't know they did that shit. So I got to be more careful of getting something I find and basically regurgitating it here to my audience, man. Now, Gerald Miller is returning. I think in May. When is he returning? Let me tell you when he's returning. Okay. I'll tell you right now because I actually have it up. He is returning. Let me see. To fight the Cuban fighter, Pero. And and they're going to be fighting on April 25th. Saturday, April 25th. And I'm telling you, man, this is going to be an interesting fight. Gerald Big Baby Miller has pressure, size, and he has a toupee. Pero's a technical Cuban skill set who has a lot of talent. I don't know who wins this fight, but I kind of think the Cuban is going to outbox Miller. But Miller has pressure, size, he's durable, he has stamina. You gotta shoot him, you got to kill him to win. But I just think with that Cuban, if for some reason he allows Miller to smother him, the Cuban's going to have a tough time with Gerald Big Baby Miller. Big Baby Miller's big, strong, and he just wins. You know what I mean? He just wins. So that fight's going to be happening on 25 April. Now, the one everybody talking about, well, one individual in particular is Errol Spence Jr. returning. Word on the street is he needed that time off. He's back. He had to take care of some things. His body's 100%, and he is ready to show that he's an OG in the game. Experience, IQ, still has that body attack. Now, there are others who are saying, all right, we hear you, but Tim Tszyu's been active. He's getting better. He's with Pedro Diaz. He's evolved his style. He's learned from his mistakes. He's trying to be the ultimate mash-up, crash-up fighter. And now he's here for the longevity of the sport to represent his father's last name, Tszyu. But I'm going to tell you this. Although, I like to chant Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. I gotta be real. This is a real difficult fight to call. I kind of think Tszyu gets Errol Spence, but I'm rooting for Spence. I just don't say you come back off for 3 years and think you're going to get in there with a guy like Tszyu and think you're going to tranquilize him just because you saw Fundora and Murtazali do the business. And Tszyu is getting better. So I want to see who's going to be able to push who back, who's going to have a head movement. I want to see what happens. What happens when Errol Spence gets hit? I want to see what exactly happens. But Errol Spence Jr. and Tim Tszyu, I am going to definitely be live for that one. That is a really, really good matchup. And if Errol Spence wins, it's going to be up, up, and away. Up, and away, 100%. So I'm looking forward to it. But I want to see who's going to have head movement. The person who wins that fight is the one who I think has a better head movement because neither one of them really moved their head that much. So if you can let your hands go, you'll land. We'll just see who lands first, who lands the hardest. Who lands first, lands the most, lands the hardest, and potentially lands a KO shot. Now, another big upcoming fight is Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus the IRS. Man, Floyd is looking bad right now, I know some people felt he had financial intelligence. He had star earning power. But, there's just ongoing scrutiny with Floyd, and you can go out there and Google Floyd Mayweather tax problems being sued, and you'll be surprised at the shit that pops up. There's all kind of stuff about Floyd getting lawsuits over private jets, losing property, owing millions of dollars. Like he has all kind of, I don't know what's true and what's not, but I know some of it is. He got all kind of stuff going on. But the problem with him, the IRS, you ain't beating the IRS. So he's got some legal and financial pressure all up in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? But he has an opportunity to try to clear that stuff up, return to the ring, fight Manny Pacquiao, which I just found out they have to April 14th to finalize the deal. If Floyd doesn't do it, again, they're talking about suing his ass there too. So Floyd, he has an opportunity to maintain his legacy out the ring. But right now, man, with everything going on with him, he's looking bad. And again, I ain't trying to jump in anybody's pockets, but it just makes me wonder. If you have all these billions of dollars and all this property, and you have all this shit going on, you're telling me you ain't handling your taxes? Or have the right tax lawyer there to make sure that you, at least if you're pushing things back, or, you know, what's it called, a tax extension? You're telling me you've been doing that year after year after year, and for some reason you just felt you weren't going to pay. I just think he's smarter than that. He has smarter people around him, but there's also where there's smoke, there's fire, so it is what it is. Now, as far as a motivation breakdown, that expectancy theory, you know what I mean? Your effort, and then there's the reward, right? For Joshua and Wilder, I just think with Anthony Joshua, his disciplined boxing is going to lead to victory. And I think everybody believes that. When you talk about fundamentals, disciplined boxing between Wilder and AJ, you think AJ. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he wins, it's going to equal a massive fight against Tyson Fury. It's going to restore some of his perceived dominance. And the value of that reward is just extremely high. Legacy, money. So I think AJ is going to be calculated, and he's going to show cautious aggression, but he's going to try to get Wilder out of there sooner than later. He's not going to play around with Wilder. He knows, I don't get paid for overtime. This guy's a shell of what he once was. Let me get him out of here. Now for Deontay Wilder, as far as the expectancy, if he can land a shot to hurt AJ, he gets a victory. But I'm just telling you, if he can't do it, it's over. But if he does, again, it's instant superstardom. You know what I mean? The world going to be buzzing about him again. Then they probably going to want him to fight Usyk. Or maybe Tyson Fury in the fourth fight because of all the stuff going on between the two. But it's a high-risk fight for Deontay. Explosive mindset. It's just, can he pull the trigger? You know, both of those guys, whoever's the quickest draw and fires the first shot, that's the one who I think wins. But I just got to side with AJ, you know what I mean? Now, Conor Benn and Ryan Garcia, both of those guys are offensive fighters, man. Conor Benn can't fight on the back foot. I think Ryan immediately puts him on the back foot, the speed, shoots that left hook or that right hand, Conor Benn gets knocked out. And well, I think Ryan beats Conor Benn in one round. I think it'll be a highlight win. I think Ryan will acquire viral fame, and he already has crossover superstardom. He just becomes bigger than what he is. So I think Conor Benn's going to bring the firefight mentality, but he'll be quickly extinguished by Ryan Garcia, left hook or right hand. It's going to be all she wrote. Now, Earl Spence and Tim Tszyu. Look, fundamentals and discipline for Spence, trust, pressure, evolving the style for Tszyu. But I just think it's a clash of systems here. Still kind of rooting for Spence, but think Tzew's going to get him, you know. I just got to be honest with you. But we got to see. Ronnie Shields, the mind of Ronnie Shields and the inactivity of Earl Spence against the mind of Pedro Diaz and the activity of Tim Tszyu. Earl Spence is a much bigger fighter, name-wise. But Tim Tszyu, he may be the safer pick if you're a gambling person. But anyway, clash of styles, clash of profiles. I don't know, I'm rooting for Spence, but I kind of think Tszyu gets him, man. Anyway, risk versus reward when it comes to these fighters, man, it is what it is. For Joshua, I think he needs to avoid exchanges. I think Wilder just got to force chaos. Be what people call him. The first syllable in his last name. Be wild. You know what I'm saying? Don't come in there being Wilder. Be wild. Force that chaos. Make that shit ugly. You know, elbow AJ. Throw him down. Whatever you got to do. Because it's whoever imposes that game is going to win that fight. But I think AJ knocks him out. I do. I think it's going to be a catch, a pull counter, and he's going to knock Wilder out cold. Because Wilder's not throwing combinations. He's slapping with his shots. He's throwing wide hooks. AJ go punch right in between that shit. And Wilder going to get knocked out cold. So any Wilder fans, I'm rooting for him, but I know AJ's going to knock him out. And it is what it is, you know. And then as far as these other fights, man, Benn-Garcia, Miller, Peril, Tszyu, I just think everybody benefits from the chaos in those fights. Everybody risks being exposed. They get clipped, equilibrium goes, they start dancing salsa in the ring, they get knocked out. But I'm telling you, that Fundora-Kelly fight, I think, is a mismatch. You know, I do. Fundora, that volume, that punching, Kelly needs to be precise, needs to be active, very active in there. He needs to throw a high volume of shots. And no matter what Kelly does, if he doesn't punch a lot, he gets overwhelmed. If he punches a lot, he makes a mistake, and that will decide everything. Kelly is in a lose-lose, in my opinion. But hey, it's boxing. Anything can happen. But that being said, let's just wait and see how it all plays out. But I'm telling you right now, when you look at these guys and trying to grow their profile, you're talking about brands, talking about how they're being managed. Anthony Joshua is the big dog. He got corporate, global branding, you know, control risk, maximize longevity. Is how Eddie Hearn is strategizing his next moves. Deontay Wilder, what he's known for is chaos, power, unpredictability, and now, you know, having an oil spill on a woman's stomach and shit. But for him, it's just a very high risk, very high reward. I just think he loses. Ryan Garcia, he's right underneath AJ as far as branding, social media appeal, speed. He's famous, man. A lot of these boxers can learn from Ryan Garcia about having that social media footprint. But Conor Benn, he's in the breeze. If he beats Ryan Garcia, he'll get some respect back, but I don't think he beats him. But with him, it's all about trying to redeem himself again and just controlling that aggression. But the bottom line is boxing's no longer just fighting people. It's brand management, it's risk strategy. And when you look at these fights that are coming up, I mean, you know, you can't help but dialogue about it. You know, so is somebody going to duck or run towards the smoke? I think these guys face a choice. Take risky fights, run to the smoke. Try to protect your position, putting duck sauce on the fried rice. But the reality is, when we as fans, we want risk. We want drama. We want real fights. And a lot of these fighters, you watch them, they want money, longevity, and legacy control. But, you know, all of these fights here, even Mayweather versus the IRS, that tension creates everything. And these are must-win fights. If these fights can be made, I already know Tim Tszyu is made with Spence, Miller's made with Peril, and the other ones, Benn-Garcia and Fundora-Kelly, are being discussed. But I tell you what, all these fights are must win. But let's see what happens in the breeze.